If you're Lincoln, Waverly, or to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Nutrition Authority invites you to save 35 to 75% off at the spring mega sale. We're taking our internet prices and cutting them even deeper, bringing you the biggest sale of the season. Monday, April 24th through Saturday, April 29th, the spring mega sale is on at Nutrition Authority. For location information, check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Construction is now hiring for a position with laborers $20 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination? Or did they discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals? As you build lasting relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional John Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Chronic pains are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for consultation at 531-254-5690, NovotnyNutritionandWellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We'll see a bit of an increase in cloud cover by later this afternoon, but still see mild temps with a high of around 65. Southeast winds at 15 to 20. Partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight, a low dropping down to around 42. And tomorrow, decreasing cloud cover, slightly warmer with a high of 67. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gather round. This is the Ticket Water Cooler.
This is the greatest thing about sports. You play to win the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Govind and Enrique Larere.
We're off to a newsy start in the Husker world today, so plenty to talk about here on the Ticket Water Cooler. I'm Jake Bachman here with Rico. It is our first show of the week, as once again Adam Carricker has barged through our time slot on Monday because he's bigger than us, and so he's a bully and he can do what he wants.
He's not a bully. He's a great guy.
I'm just kidding.
He is bigger than us, though.
He is bigger.
Yeah, so
he can definitely beat both of us
If
up.
it did come down to like a fight for the hour on Monday,
Yeah.
I think he would still win.
Yes.
So there is no fighting over it. He can have it.
If we both took him on at once, you think
He still
Yeah,
wins.
I think
There's
he still
no,
wins.
because the thing is, he'll stiff arm one of us into the ground, and honestly, that person probably gets off easy.
Yeah. All he has to
As
do
long
is
as you
hit
just
each
stay
one
down.
of us once, and I think we're probably
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Look, if I dodge one, I'll grab him, but then that's that. Like, I'm not gonna do anything to him.
Yeah, there's also that. There's not much we can do to inflict pain on him. So he's got Mondays and Fridays as well.
I guess he can keep it.
Yeah. We won't as things usually come down to just physical who's stronger than the other. That's how the world works these days.
Yeah, whatever.
No.
That's fine. It's fine. He does a
No.
great job on Mondays.
Yeah. We're obviously glad to have Adam Carricker, but as part of the Ticket family, just making some jokes here as we start the show. But no joke, of course, Nebraska has to get down to their 85 scholarship limit, and it's interesting to see if they'll get down to even more than that if they add some players from the portal. Not a whole lot of news yesterday, over the weekend, kind of waiting to see if anybody would jump in the transfer portal. Well, we got a first edition today out of the quarterback room. Richard Torres entering the transfer portal. I think it's important to remember, too, with these guys, fought through spring. I mean, we're really trying to make the Husker team, you would assume. I'm not going to speak for them, but I think as this news comes out, just remember, I don't know how much of this choice is up to them, so just if you're a Husker fan, don't tweet at him or anything.
Yeah,
Like,
just leave.
You should have been more loyal.
How dare
Who
you?
knows? Yeah. So
Don't do that.
Richard Torres off the transfer portal. Of course, interesting in a variety of ways. He did play. We only got one public viewing of Richard Torres because he was hurt coming in out of high school. Redshirted last year, was 9 of 18 for 66 yards and an interception to Phelan Sanford in the spring game. But always kind of seemed like, a guy that doesn't necessarily fit the room as far as what the rest of the guys bring to the table. Big arm, not necessarily too mobile. So there might be a better offensive fit for him. I think that's intriguing. As we were talking a lot on the captain about, what are they going to go more with the best quarterback? Are you going to go with the best kind of fit to your system as far as Jeff Sims and Casey Thompson? Does this signify, maybe just because it's the first or maybe for some people, maybe an expectation, does this signify that Nebraska is definitely going to value the ground game from the quarterback to you?
I don't know if that's what it signals as much as it just shows that, and I don't even know if it shows Richard Torres just had a feeling that he probably wasn't going to get much playing time. Definitely not this season or the coming seasons if he had stayed in Nebraska, because if Nebraska is to continue in their pursuit of Dylan Raiola, and if he comes here, you would have to think that the number one overall prospect in the country of whatever year is going to get a larger chance at becoming the starter at whatever school he ends up going to. So I think Richard Torres just kind of saw the writing on the wall and thought if he truly wants some playing time, whether it be this season or next season, that he would probably get that at a different school. You could look at it as a emphasis on the quarterback running game, because if you look at Richard Torres, you look at the last two quarterbacks that Frost and company recruited and brought to campus, Heinrich Harburg, Richard Torres, big guys with big arms. The only difference between them is Heinrich Harburg more of a running quarterback than Richard Torres. Torres more of a pocket passer. Has enough, legs to get out of pressure in the pocket, but you're not going to see him scrambling for 25 yards and scoring, 10 touchdowns on the ground any season. So I think that's also a part of it. Just his style didn't really fit with what they were looking for. But I do believe that he's going to be a very successful quarterback wherever he ends up, because as you've heard coming out of practice, the dude has a cannon. He's very accurate, very poised in the pocket. So I think that he'll be successful wherever he goes. It just wasn't meant to be here at Nebraska.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting just him signing at Nebraska, because obviously you're coming off the Adrian Martinez run at Nebraska, and you're kind of thinking that maybe that's where Scott Frost's offense was going to be stuck, is to have a mobile quarterback, or would be most utilized, obviously. And so, I mean, I always thought it was kind of a weird fit to begin with. Of course, then when you bring in Whipple and Casey Thompson, then maybe that kind of opens up an avenue there for him to play. But I mean, I still think he is going to be a good get for somebody out of the portal. We didn't see, again, too much of him outside of the spring game because he's still coming off that injury. Didn't play in the highest level in Texas out of San Antonio. And so there were kind of some questions there. So, I mean, he's definitely kind of on the prospect list, and that's where he entered the spring. And, you wonder if things maybe had gone a little bit differently. Seemed like Heinrich Harburg rose to kind of that third position. Maybe it was kind of that camp battle that led him to believe, okay, this maybe the coaches value something else. Maybe he thought he played better and didn't get the move up the depth chart that he wanted. But regardless, he gave a very good kind of send off to the transfer portal on his Twitter, including thanking Coach Rule and staff. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of hurt feelings or anything involved here. And you do wonder too. I mean, is this the start of the cuts that we expect to see? I don't want to say cuts again, sorry, NFL style. But it's just the start of getting down to the scholarship level that we expect to see again by the 30th, because that's, that would be the best way to get it done, which is this Sunday, so that those kids have an opportunity to look around and start to get recruited. So, is that the start of this, or is this maybe something to the side? Richard Torres just kind of deciding on himself that this was not the move, this was not the place for him, and he was going to move on. We'll see, and I think we'll start to see, especially if you start to see more guys entering the transfer portal in the coming days. Any last thoughts on Richard Torres?
No, I'm just gonna look at his recruiting profile to kind of see where else he was being recruited to, just to see where you. First one that pops up.
Colorado.
Kansas State.
Oh, Kansas State. Okay.
Some of the other schools that were recruiting him that he got offers from just to see where. And this isn't like an exact science. It's not like, oh, well, they were recruiting him, so obviously they're going to bring him in and he's going to be their next quarterback. This is just some teams that might be one of the first ones to reach out that might be looking to add him to their roster. Kansas State, San Diego State, Tulsa, UNLV, Utah, UTSA, Washington State. I think he'd fit really well at Utah and Washington State. I think those two would be really good. I mean, honestly, Kansas State would be the same way. They don't need a running quarterback, as you saw after Adrian went down. I don't even remember who their backup was, but
Will Howard.
Yeah, Will Howard. He wasn't a threat with his legs. He could run, he could move, but for the most part, he was in the pocket, dicing teams up, handing the ball off to Deuce Vaughn. So I think Kansas State would also be a pretty good. And this, tells you how many quarterbacks they have on their roster. So this says they have 3 on their roster for Kansas State.
As far as places he visited, too, it says on his Husker bio, he chose Nebraska after also visiting Kansas State.
They only have 3 quarterbacks on the roster,
and they've got a pretty good, kind of taste in their mouth from getting a
Nebraska transfer.
Yeah, so
like, oh, wait a minute. Let's do it again.
So we're turning tea leaves and projecting him to Kansas State at this point.
I'm just saying, 6'5", 210 pounds. I'm sure he's heavier than that now. I'm sure he put on some weight here at Nebraska. So 6'5" quarterback
Apparently
with a strong arm
because he's listed at 6'4", 250.
Oh my goodness! What did they do to him?
Oh.
Richie. Nah, he'll be fine.
Nah, he's good.
Wherever he ends up, like I said, I think he'll be successful. Strong arm quarterback, good pocket presence. So we wish him the best.
Yeah.
And this isn't the end. We were making fun of Colorado for having 18 players enter the portal. They've had 41 players in the portal since Dion took over, since he gave that speech about his Louis Bags come in, and one of his coaches said 20 to 28 of you or something like that won't roster this coming season. Well, it's up to 41 now. And we love to make fun of Colorado and whatever, but Nebraska's going to have to go through kind of the same thing. It might not be to that extent 18 players in one day, but you're going to have to cut down 10 players, 10, 15 players at least.
The interesting thing is I at least project Nebraska not, again, kind of like this Richard Torres move, is that they're going to probably cut guys that don't have a whole lot of returning production. Again, I said cut. But they're going to let guys go to the portal. Yeah, at this point, we understand what's going on. But Colorado's, and that's what I found fascinating. I read this out earlier, but per Bill Connolly, these numbers are just crazy as far as the returning production that they've lost. 5 of 8 offensive linemen. Oh, is there another one?
Victor Jones Jr.
The
past year at UNL has been great, but in life, well, hold on. Great, but life goes on. First of all, I'd like to thank God for me even having the opportunity, but I would also like to thank Coach Rule, Coach Sat, and Coach McGuire for giving me the opportunity to play for this team and compete. But with that being said, I will be entering my name in the transfer portal with 4 years of eligibility.
So there you go. I think we got our answer there. I think exit meetings are going on.
Yep.
I
think things have been happening since the spring game ended. We are now two transfer portal entries deep. Richard Torres, Victor Jones Jr., it looks like, is some of the younger guys who were recruited by the previous staff.
And also keep this in note: 2 members of the red team this past Saturday.
Oh, no.
How many red team squad members are we going to lose? Victor Jones, though, Victor Jones Jr., first of all, great wide receiver name. Sounds like he's going to be a good wide receiver at least. 6'1", 195-pound receiver in the portal. Like you said, redshirt freshman class, so he's still got 4 years left to play. Not a whole lot more to say about him. He's just kind of, didn't really have a whole lot of time to develop here.
Nope.
But didn't play right away and did finish, the other day with 2 receptions, 10 yards for the red team.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the ones that we were really excited about when he was recruited. He was brought in. That says recruited by Sean Beckton and Mickey Joseph on his 24/7 profile. It was one of the ones that we were more excited for, kind of a bigger bodied wide receiver, kind of getting away from what they had recruited in previous years. A guy from Orlando, Florida, Olympia High School. We were looking at him and thinking, yes, this is going to be, the future of Nebraska's wide receiver room, a fast guy with some size, some good hands. It was 1 year in, so you can't even say he didn't develop into what you wanted him to. This is just, a guy who redshirted his first year, probably didn't think he was going to get much play at Nebraska, whether it be this year, next year, whatever. So he's entering the portal, and we'll see where he ends up. Another guy that had some decent offers, second offer on his list, Arkansas. That'd be a pretty good school. You know, they like to sling the ball around quite a bit. So
yeah. I know Cincinnati and Kentucky, other teams that were after him, at least as a high school product. The wide receiver room, and those were guys, again, you know, there's been people or fan accounts online projecting which 12 guys they want to get cut and stuff like that. That's not necessarily a good thing to do. So, you know, professional or we call ourselves professionals haven't necessarily done that. But I think this was a guy that from the outside looked like he was going to have to make a move in the spring just because of how much they added to the wide receiver room. Of course, with Joshua Fleeks, Billy Kemp, they brought back IGC, they brought back Xavier Betts, and so you're just kind of adding a lot. And then, of course, they added a lot of the true freshman receivers coming into Nebraska, kind of left these guys. And I wonder how many of these guys are going to be, because when you do that sort of projection, you know, you're kind of thinking, okay, well, these guys helped. These guys are part of the new guys they brought in. And then there's this group of redshirt freshmen, sophomores that are there that haven't played yet, that you say, well, it's not necessarily fair to them because they haven't had the chance to develop. You know, not everybody can come and play right away and play a significant role. But again, numbers wise, those are some of the guys that are kind of left out. So again, I'm going to be interested to see how many of those guys have a lot left to be seen for their college career. But again, that's the news there. Victor Jones Jr. as well as Richard Torres hitting the transfer portal, and we might see. It sounds like maybe exit interviews are going on. We might see more throughout the day. We'll keep you updated on that stuff as well. We'll take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler. We're up against it, but we will return and talk about a little bit of scheduling news for Nebraska basketball, and of course, the game moved to Friday, Nebraska and Illinois. The announcement yesterday, we didn't get to have our thoughts on it here on the Ticket Water Cooler, so we will do that coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Keep summer green with Judson Bylene and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, Judson Irrigation started taking in orphans. Lawn sprinkler systems installed by a quickie, cheapy summer job, install 'em and forget 'em outfit, long forgotten. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation, 402-420-6277, JudsonIrrigation.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class firm with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
The Empire brand growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC great attention to detail. They stick to line with you. If you can dream it, contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Playoff hockey comes to the capital city this week as the Lincoln Stars host the Des Moines Buccaneers in the first round of the 2023 Clark Cup playoffs. It's a best-of-3 game series with Game 1 coming on Monday night, Game 2 on Tuesday, and if necessary, Game 3 on Wednesday. All 3 games will be played at 7:05 p.m. and at the Ice Box. Lock in your postseason seats to cheer on the Stars by purchasing $10 tickets now at LincolnStars.com.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Tailored Life is now open in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, for both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, shrubs, vines, perennials, and colorful annuals. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, convenient drinks and snacks, most which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up. Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln by offering a number of services. From group homes for special needs adults to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the intellectual and developmental disability services your loved one needs to live a fulfilling life. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a more rewarding career, learn more about available positions. Learn more about services for your loved ones or employment today at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Nutrition Authority invites you to save 35 to 75% off the spring mega sale. We're taking our better than internet prices and cutting them even deeper, bringing you the biggest sale of the season. Monday, April 24th through Saturday, April 29th, the spring mega sale is on at Nutrition Authority. For location information, check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Ticket Water Cooler and a busy day in Husker sports. Just a lot going on in the sports world altogether. I promised some scheduling talk, and we'll get to that here in a second. But, of course, for Nebraska basketball fans, interesting day. Nebraska guard Keisei Tominaga, it's been reported, will test NBA waters while maintaining NCAA eligibility. Players have until the NCAA deadline of June 1st to withdraw from the draft and return to school. NCAA also allows now players, if they're invited to the NBA Combine in May, to return to college basketball if they go undrafted. We're looking at a June 22nd NBA draft this year, so if it makes it that far, if he is invited to the Combine. But it does look like, at least according to Husker Online, they had a source say that close to the situation that returning to play professionally in Japan is likely no longer being considered. It's Nebraska or the NBA.
Man, I have never hoped for somebody to not make their dreams come true and make it to the NBA.
More.
And I'm still not. I hope that he can make it to the NBA, but I hope that next season. I hope that they're just like, look, we just need to see one more thing from you. We just need you to work on this with this one thing, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess I'll go back to Nebraska and work on it.
Yeah,
I hope he's like the first pick in the second round, and he's like, no, I want to be a first rounder, and then he has to come back to make his dreams a reality.
Well, and I hope, and again, we all hope the best for Keisei Tominaga or any former Husker athlete. But man, would it be great to have Keisei back? He's basically the king of Lincoln. I mean, just the way, especially during basketball season, he's so exciting to cheer for, and part of that is because he's an absolute bucket. I mean, he's scoring 20 points, 20 or more points down the stretch, and however many of those games in a row really gave the fire to Nebraska back post those injuries. So we'll be seeing. We'll be waiting to see. I have not seen we did this at times with Isaiah Roby and Bryce McGowans and guys that get mentioned once in a while in those mock drafts. I've not seen a mock draft with Casey on it. I'm not saying I've scoured the internet to look for mock drafts, but you're kind of looking probably back into the second round. If you do indeed see it, I have not. I've not seen it yet.
There's only one place that I trust with my NBA draft knowledge, and that is tankathon.com.
Tankathon. There you go.
So let's see where Keisei Tominaga, skipping the first round, going straight to the second round, and Keisei Tominaga, it has Baylor Schreiber as 50th.
I got to update that one.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure that one out because he ain't going nowhere. Oscar Shaper, second to last pick. No Keisei Tominaga getting drafted. So we'll see, if he puts on, if he shows how fantastic of a shooter he is, which we all know he is. Maybe somebody taking a flyer on him towards the end of the second round, but it'd be I would be surprised, and this is no diss to him. I would be surprised if Casey got drafted this year. This draft is loaded. This draft is loaded. Maybe not the greatest time to enter your name to the draft conversation.
Well, and he's just a guy. I think you need to see it be proven a little bit more. I mean, he didn't even start a full year at Nebraska. I think if you're looking from the NBA level, of course, he's got that size that he's going to have to. I mean, you're always going to be fighting up against that. He's not the biggest guy.
He's a point guard, right?
And that's the other thing is, can he play off guard in the league, or do you need him to play point guards? You know, we've talked to Eric Strickland, of course, who played in the league for quite some time, and he thinks that he needs to, if he comes back, prove that he can kind of be the point guard, which again is interesting because we've seen Fred Hoiberg in the past try to set up a player the best way that makes their NBA draft stock get better, which is kind of Bryce McGowan's, as opposed to making the team better, and it did not make the team better.
No, it did not.
So I would be interested to see kind of what's the feedback that K-State Tamanaga gets. Obviously, if you're Nebraska, if he comes back and says, I want to run point, you tell him, okay, you're running point. Because K-State Tamanaga is that good of a player.
But he's
not
going to run. If he comes back, he's not going to run point. Like, that's just not going to happen. He's not going to be the point guard. He's not going to be the starting point guard for Nebraska. It's just not going to happen. They went out and they got their starting point guard, who's, by the way, 6'7". That's going to be their point guard. I think for Casey's NBA success, it would be nice, and his size would lead you to believe that he's going to be a point guard in the NBA. He needs to be able to run an offense and all that. I don't think that's his future. I think he's going to be a spot-up shooter. I think what he needs to do is prove that he can defend the 1 and the 2. I think he needs to prove that he can defend one-on-one and show that he can not lock somebody down. He doesn't have to be a lockdown defender, but prove that he is able to stop somebody from getting to the rim with ease, defend people at a high enough level to show that his shooting isn't the only thing that he's not going to be a defensive liability when you get him on the court.
That's the problem when you translate it to the NBA is most twos are like 6'7", and Casey's just not. He's just not going to be able to.
I don't see him running. I don't see him running the offense.
He played point guard in JUCO.
He did, and he was the point guard on his 3v3 team. And he, people say that he, can't create his own shot. Look, 3v3, you have to create your own shot. And he did a fantastic job of doing that. If you go back and watched it at the time in the Olympics, he did a fantastic job. He was the most electric player on those 3v3 courts, and I believe he might have been the youngest. So he has that ability. I just don't know if Nebraska's going to have him running the show when they went out and got a point guard.
Again, I don't know if it's ideal, but I think, with it, again, it's not just Bryce McGowan's thing. Remember Alonzo Vert? Alonzo Vert was brought here, told from NBA guys, you're going to have to learn point guard. You're going to have to play point guard if you're going to make it in the league. And so Nebraska did that. He led the Big Ten in assists. And Nebraska fans necessarily love his point guard duties the whole time.
They didn't think he led the league in assists.
They ignored that. But of course, the frustrations with him sometimes ISOing or trying to do too much on his own. I think that continues to be interesting to me. Again, if that's what if K-State comes back and says I'm either going to jump or I need to play some point guard, I would say, okay, we're gonna run you into point guard. It is interesting to note. I don't know if how many people saw this either. There's a few scholarships open for Nebraska. Latrell Wright-Sell Jr. will not be one of those guys.
That makes me so
was
sad.
a hope for a while, and now has committed to Alabama, I believe on Sunday, if I remember correctly. So that's not happening. Hunter Salas, of course, was at the spring game, so he's of course kind of the biggest name, at least as far as Husker fans know, in the portal, and so for Nebraska. So we'll see kind of how they finish this things out. But I guess K-State Tamanaga officially is you're gonna have to wait longer. Is basically what he told him.
Just gonna have to find out if they go his way in the draft process, and if not, he'll be back in Nebraska.
And of course, it's been some time since Nebraska's had. We'll have some, a team. I think going into the year, if you bring Tamanaga back, that they've got some momentum on their side. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Exciting times for Nebraska basketball. We did mention this, so I want to continue, or at least get it in quickly. While we're on Nebraska basketball, they did announce the schedule pairings. So your home and aways and then those that you'll play just at home and away in the Big Ten. The home games, no return trip here from Nebraska, Michigan State, Penn State, and Purdue. So you're not going to have to go and play those teams on the road. That's good news. I think
Perfect.
That's a pretty good draw
You don't
there.
have to travel to Purdue.
Purdue and Michigan State, those are tough places to go play. And Penn State, you just don't want to make the trip, and there's not that many fans there.
I'm not trying to go to Penn. Well, they were last year.
Right.
They had a pretty good season. This year, I don't know the new coach.
Shrewsbury out, so we'll kind of
see what happens.
How they go. You will not see these teams at Nebraska this year. Illinois, Maryland, that's fine. Iowa, one of the teams that's not going to have a home and away with Nebraska, and so you will not see Iowa and Lincoln.
Sad.
Yeah, that hurts the schedule a little bit. Of course, we're not going to see it in its entirety for a while, but that feels like one you just lock in as a home and away. Geographically, it makes sense, but especially rivalry-wise, I want to see two games against Iowa. So now it kind of opens up: is Iowa or Creighton more important next year?
Creighton.
Probably Creighton.
No, it's Iowa. It's part of the conference
Big
slate.
Ten game,
Yeah, it's a Big Ten game.
Yeah. Of course, that was part of Nebraska's big year this last year, despite not finishing off all that well. And what were they, 500 for the year? They did beat Iowa. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Creighton. So if you're not going to have a winning season, you beat your rivals. Yeah, at least
beat your rivals.
Yeah. And, of course, that leaves a home and away with Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Northwestern, Ohio State, Rutgers, and some other team that I scribbled down that I can't read. But the last team of the Big Ten that we didn't mention.
Yeah, whoever it is.
I can't tell what I wrote there.
I saw it. Let me
Wisconsin. Wisconsin. There's the other team.
You get to see Chucky Hepburn twice.
Yes. So that's in the basketball scheduling news. Of course, yesterday we learned in football scheduling news, Nebraska, Illinois in early October moved to Friday night. The short week will come off a game against Michigan and leading into a bye week. So it doesn't help you much on that side. Illinois, meanwhile, coming off a game against Purdue ahead of a game against Maryland. Give them an extra day to prepare for Maryland. Obviously, out of that matchup there, you'd probably rather play Purdue before a short week than Michigan.
Yeah, I said it yesterday that Nebraska is going to be sore going into that bye week because you've got a ground and pound Michigan team and then a ground and pound Illinois team back to back. Illinois on a short week, not going to be fun. We'll see. And like I said, I'm not going to make any predictions. It's going to be a rough short week for Nebraska coming off of that Michigan game going into Illinois. But at least you have a bye week, and then you get Northwestern, who I don't know. For the longest time, we said Pat Fitzgerald doesn't have back-to-back bad season. I think he's had 3 in a row. So I don't know what's going on up there anymore. I don't know if they're going to be good this year, if they're going to be bad. We'll see what happens.
Well, they beat you last year, and they're 1-11.
Yep.
So they weren't good, and they still
that's
beat you.
Cool.
So there's always that. But 3 games now for Nebraska's schedule. Of course, Iowa on Black Friday, opened up the year with Minnesota on a Thursday, and now Illinois on a Friday. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you feel indifferent about these other games? Of course, the benefit of these games will never be done, never be had. Minnesota or, of course, Iowa is on Black Friday. But these Minnesota, Illinois games, you're not going to do that for a Memorial Stadium game. You just because Nebraska is too big of a draw, you're going to want to get the most out of game day experience and revenue for more than an experience. But just in general, do you feel like Fridays are for high school football? Obviously, this Illinois game will now get a national spotlight on it where it might otherwise get overlooked on the Saturday slate of games.
It feels weird having Nebraska play over. Now they play twice on Friday, and once on Thursday this season. It's just weird to me seeing Nebraska play earlier, seeing Nebraska not play on a Saturday outside of the Black Friday. And even then, Black Friday is just a little weird to me. I know it's tradition. I know it's something Nebraska's always done, but it's just something that, you've got you go on your Twitter feed and you've got high school stats coming in and high school scores coming in, and oh, by the way, Nebraska's also playing, and there's videos and that. It's just a strange dynamic to me. I don't think that they should be playing on Friday. I get that it's against Illinois, it gives you a national audience, whereas on Saturday you probably weren't going to get that. But I mean, I'll get over it.
Yeah. I personally like it because it gives me another opportunity. I try to make a different stadium every year. So it gives me another Saturday that I can choose from a game, usually a regional game.
Yeah.
Last year I went to – what did I go last year? I don't know. I've been to Kansas State. I went to the Kansas Duke game. How could I forget the Kansas Duke game? So I'm going to look at my schedule and see if I can make it, maybe on that Saturday.
What day is it?
Day. What day is it? I don't have that right in front of me. What is it? Early October, like October –
October
Six,
6th.
7, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I was going to say you could go to Colorado, but they played Arizona State on the 7th.
I still want to go to Sun Devil Stadium. Maybe a cheap flight to Phoenix.
I said that's not. Well, you can get a cheap flight to Vegas.
Yeah.
And then drive to Phoenix.
What? Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad either. I might, then return to Vegas.
You just go straight to the
yeah. Or
use that red way.
Yeah.
At the Lincoln
I'll have to
Airport.
see the Cardinals are playing on that Saturday.
See?
Sunday maybe I can do Arizona
A
State.
little bit of both.
And Cardinals. Yeah. See,
There
the
you
options
go.
are open.
Look at that. A free Saturday for Bach.
Thanks, Big Ten. I know most people hate it, but I like it. That's awesome.
Oh, what about the Thursday game? What are you gonna do then? Are you gonna go to a high school game Friday and then go to
yeah, we can just line it all
We're
up.
going all over the place.
All right, we'll take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler. Prepare for the happy hour by bringing in Nick Sanders. Coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Tailored Life is now open in for home, both and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, shrubs, vines, perennials, and colorful annuals. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a big and budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 23rd.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. But now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction material. They sell in bulk to save you money, buying anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. They deliver anywhere, and if you mention you heard this ad on 93.7 Ticket, they'll deliver in town for free through the month of April with some restrictions applying. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
It's April, and that means the school year is almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. One Motors is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride. Summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
MWR is dedicated to steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, plus they're last and ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel building systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to MWRbuildingandfence.com. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $20 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Bit of an increased cloud cover by later this afternoon, but still see mild temps with a high of around 65. Southeast winds at 15 to 20. Partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight, a low dropping down to around 42. And tomorrow, increasing cloud cover, slightly warmer with a high of 67. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey guys, Nick Sainert here for the Body Shop. I recently had an incredible massage for this team at the Body Shop, and now a massage for you could possibly turn into a free massage for your mom. That's right. Free gift at thebodyshop.com and stop by their location at 48th and A, the Body Shop.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln, offering a number of services. From group homes for special needs adults to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the intellectual and developmental disability services your loved one needs to live a fulfilling life. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a more rewarding career, learn more about available positions. Learn more about services for your loved ones or employment today at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
There's a new way to vacay when you fly LNK. Check out brand new service at the Lincoln Airport to some of America's favorite travel destinations. Catch convenient nonstop flights to Vegas, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Orlando, Austin, Dallas, or Nashville when you fly via Redway. With so many affordable options to choose from, planning your vacation has never been easier. Visit GoFly.com and book today. It's offered by Global X Air Tours LLC and operated by Global Crossing Airlines Incorporated.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We know the Big Ten is stealing UCLA and USC from the Pac-12.
Thievery.
The thievery does not stop there. Pac-12 is in a bit of an officiating problem. The 5 officials have at the referee position have left the Pac-12. 4 referees have resigned and a 5th retired. But 3 of the guys that left the Pac-12 have been hired by the Big Ten. Oh, and 2 of those guys were at the officiating the Husker spring game.
Wait, are we?
Oh, some former Pac-12 guys.
We have some former Pac-12 guys.
Were at the spring game on
Yeah,
Saturday.
that was Pac-12.
That's why
that
there
was Pac-12 officiating.
That was the reason there were some new faces.
That's why Nebraska played so clean.
Something
Pac-12 officials,
like that,
no
yeah.
calls. Well, in terms of penalties,
Yeah.
you dummies.
So I wonder if that's the case of where like those guys just moved to Lincoln or moved to a Big Ten city.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too.
I mean, if you stay in LA, you're technically in a Big Ten city.
That's right.
You will be next year. Like I wonder.
Are they so they're
Like,
they
for
left
example,
now
like-
and they're starting?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
'cause
the
some
thing
of them
is,
already been in the Big Ten.
when you like see like college basketball officials, the best part about it is like there's dudes from like Omaha that are just the most hated officials out there in a Big Ten conference.
And you're just
it's
like, oh, I saw him at Target. the other
yeah,
day."
I saw him at Walmart.
Yeah,
and he was at PBA, and I was booing him.
Yeah, and then I was like, hey, Greg, how you doing?
Like,
Hey, great game, huh?
That's the crazy thing is like PBA. I always kind of feel a little bit like sometimes when it gets out of hand, like the refs are just doing an awful job. They make like the 4th call in a row that's making the crowd mad. And I like there are a few minutes inside PBA or at events where I'm just like, I feel like there might be a riot.
This could get bad.
And people are getting too angry.
Whenever like a game ends on something controversial, I always get so scared for the refs because I'm like, you have to leave at some point.
It is always hilarious how they just like beeline for the exit.
We're gonna
All right,
get
we gotta get out of here.
Time
right
to
now.
skedaddle.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Well, of course, people are worried about the refs working on the other team or whatever. But I always remind people, like refereeing, I don't think they get enough credit for how hard that is because we like look at a replay and we're like, well, of course that, but everything's live, everything's moving, everything's quick. So you just kind of got to see it. And you've done it before, where sometimes like especially baseball when it's like a bang bang play, and you're just like. And sometimes, if I was the ref, they just look at me and go, "I don't know. Let's look at it in the replay."
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea.
That one, I blinked. I'm sorry, I blinked.
As far as like, there's that moment when they're like looking at you waiting to make a call, and you're just like replaying the play in
You're
your
like,
head.
oh,
You're like,
yeah.
okay, what happened.
Carry the
I wasn't
one.
necessarily paying attention.
Yeah.
They caught me sleeping.
See, that's the thing is, like,
I
I
wasn't
was
expecting a 9-year-old to pick over to first base.
yeah. Wait a minute. Like, I'll watch, like, football shows, and it's just like, I'm like, oh, I wish I was a ref, but at the same time, I'm like, no, because you can't just watch the game. Like, you have to pay
Yeah.
attention to whatever you're supposed to pay attention. Like, you're watching this, you're just like, oh, there was a hold, and it's like, well, why didn't the ref call that? I'm like, well, the ref is like behind the play.
Yeah.
You've got the eye in the sky. You can see this. So there's always like those things where like, why don't they ever call holds or why don't they ever call this? I'm like, dude, there's so much to watch. Like, I understand it's like the ref has this one job. I'm like, okay, well, first off, you have to make sure, especially the one that's in the middle of the play, got to make sure you're not going to get hit.
Yeah.
Got to make sure the ball is not going to get
It's
through.
crazy how invisible that guy is, by the way.
Yeah.
We watch so much football, and I never see that guy
Until something happens.
somebody points it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's there.
Until you're just like, oh, you ran a pick play with the ref. Like,
Yeah.
the ref's part of the play.
That's even like you can even just carry that over. For example, like umpires in Major League Baseball, they get talked about, and I guess referees, umpires, officials all over across all sport, like they get talked about when they do bad, right?
Yeah.
Or when like Chris Paul has a horrible record, when Scott Foster is reffing.
He has
NBA
not won.
games.
He has not won a
But
game that Scott Foster officiates.
I think he just did this year. They just.
I think it was
Probably
just this last playoff. It was
just
this last playoff game.
game. Yeah, but anyway,
Finally off the.
yeah, finally. But no, like if you flip it around, and that's why there's this MLB scorecards Twitter account that I love to look at because it's like umpire scorecards.
Yeah.
And basically what it is, they grade umpires behind home plate every single Major League Baseball game, and it's like broken down statistic by statistic. And like I just need to bring up like one because a poor performance is like considered umpire scorecard. Let's just see if that anyway.
Is it
umpire scorecards? So let's like pull up one from last night here. So this is going to be this is from the Cardinals and San Francisco Giants game last night. It says umpire is Nick Lentz. The final score was Giants 4, Cardinals 0. And here, so it breaks down. I'll show you guys in the studio. It breaks down all of the accuracy percentages and things like that. So, like, we talk about how poorly these guys do, but in reality, this guy last night called 130 of 134 pitches that were taken by the batter. He called them correct. He called 97% correct.
That's wild.
Last night.
That's wild.
It's unreal. And so he missed. They talk. Okay, so he called all of all the true balls that were pitched that were outside of the zone, didn't touch the zone at all. He missed one call. He called 92 of the 93 balls that were true balls. He called them balls. He called one of them that was a strike that barely missed the low and outside corner.
Barely.
3 of the 41 called strikes were true balls.
That is
like
interesting.
It is fascinating because it makes you kind of open your eyes. And then at the end of the day, now there's some of these that are really bad.
You
on
showed me one that was.
like
I'm
that,
scrolling down. You showed me one that was disgusting.
What's fascinating is like so they do it for every single game every night, and so what's awesome about it is you see a lot of them where it's like 99% accuracy and they missed 1 out of 212 pitches that night. They missed one single pitch, which is unreal to think about. But then there's some that it's like, I think that's like this one that I just scrolled down to. There was one that was bad, and it's like 92%.
I found an Angel
accuracy.
Hernandez one.
Perfect.
88%.
There it is. So it's like it is crazy because then they factor in there's like run differential, and it says like so for the one that was last night with the Cardinals and Giants, it says plus 0.16 runs for St. Louis. That's how the game was favored.
My goodness.
But in reality, the Cardinals lost still 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy because, once again, we talk about how bad these guys do, and in baseball especially, it's like, let's get the robot umpires out there. But in reality, these guys are doing exceptional. It's just they have maybe one bad call that changes the course of the game.
But the robo umps wouldn't miss anything. It'd just be 100.
But I want them to miss. I want the imperfections.
Yeah.
I want the imperfections. I think robot umps are the stupidest thing.
Well, my thing is like, the imperfections, the perfections, whatever, all that stuff. What if it's chalk? Like if there's like a part of the ball that's in there, and the robot ump calls to the ball. because
Well,
it's just like
that-
well, most of the
well-
like you have to get it. You have to make sure that the robot understands all that. I don't know.
That's the thing is that if you hit it on the strike zone at all, if it touches any part of this like box, imaginary box, it's like it's hard enough to do that at the youth level. I think for a lot of people.
I imagine the ball being 100 miles an hour.
Imagine it being 100 miles an hour coming at your head, and then being able to have a 17 mile an hour mile per hour pitch speed differential, and it's a curveball that buckles everybody's knees.
Yeah,
it's just like the ability to stand in there and just be like, all right, if the catcher can't catch it or if they get crossed up, I'm taking one off the dome.
88 miles an hour with like 3 inches of cut, and you're just like, yep, sure, that works.
And they get it right.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So let's take a minute out of our day, every day, to thank the referees and umpires.
Thanks, umps and
for
refs.
what they do.
It's
It's an interesting day. 2 Huskers have entered the transfer portal. Maybe we'll see more. Maybe we won't. That'll be part of the question going forward on the happy hour, which is coming up next year. This has been the Ticket Water Cooler. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned at 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk. FM dial. Online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM first.